Hey, yo, Charlamagne, we good?
Still one of my favorite moments in like
Radio.
in like American history. Not even radio. Oh man. Yo.
Yo.
Welcome back to the Mark Hours podcast, the official podcast of YouTube. What's good with you, Chen?
Man, life is good.
What's good about life? Oh man.
Try something to do, man. Whoa.
No, you good.
Yeah, I think, just enjoying. Summer is my favorite time of the year. So, even though it's a little too hot, especially at night when you're trying to sleep, I love it. I love the sun. I love people being outside.
And then you love getting darker too. You said
I love getting darker. It's all beautiful, man.
I love
soaking out the vitamin D.
I love getting darker.
Early mornings.
Vitamin D. Shout out to Pride Month. But I like getting darker.
It took me a minute to even understand what.
I'm a rapper. I want to get darker evenly though.
Okay.
I
This man's streaking.
Yeah, like depending, my arms can be darker than my face and things like that. It just is what it is. You know what's funny? Going back on a couple of episodes where Elon was supposed to buy Twitter, and the more and more stuff that's coming out, I feel like he was joking about it. I don't know if he was like really serious on trying to buy it.
I don't know. I mean, he took out a bunch of loans, but I sold my shares. So, hey, Twitter, when I sold it was at like 50 something.
So you was
it's back to 30 something.
You like I won.
I told y'all.
And
I don't trust that man.
The thing that's funny, I didn't know there's a I think they call it, don't quote me, a breakup clause or something like that. Well, it's not called breakup clause.
Oh, when you got paid back.
To where if I engage in a negotiation to buy a company and we get to a certain point, to break off talks, I have to pay, I think, $1 billion.
That's fair.
What? I was joking.
Don't be joking about my money.
I was joking. I said, I'm going to buy Twitter. The same way as I said, I'm going to put Coke back in Coca-Cola. I was joking.
Hey, man. You signed some papers.
Oh, man. That is crazy.
I don't know why he would want to buy Twitter and then change his mind like that.
I don't know why
I mean, I know why. He said that most of the people are fake, but that's a dumb reason. You think to do your research before you say that's so dumb.
I wouldn't said nothing. I just would have popped up like, "Hello guys, I own Twitter now." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't even brought y'all with me on the whole process. But shout out to Elon. Shout
Shout out to Clout.
Man, okay. I don't think it's clout.
You don't think he want clout?
He's a billionaire. Like, what does he want? What does he need clout for?
Why does anybody want clout? Some people don't make no money off of clout.
Most people don't make money off of clout.
I'm telling you, people just like the attention.
I guess.
It seems like he loves attention.
I don't know. Usually,
that's why his windows broke.
Okay.
It's bulletproof. You sure?
He threw a rock at it.
Shout out to Elon. I'm not an Elon hater. It sounds like I am, like a lot of liberals, but I like Elon. I don't think he's Steve Jobs, but he's cool.
I think he's funny. I think he's more funny than genius. I think he's hilarious. He's definitely the funniest billionaire we got.
You think so?
By far.
Oh man, I need to follow.
By far. But the thing about it is,
Uh-huh.
have you ever met somebody who is funny, but it's not their jokes that's funny? It's like, no, you're funny. We're laughing at you.
Oh damn.
Like, like Elon seemed like the type of guy to where I feel like I would have a good conversation with Elon, but I feel like I wouldn't laugh at anything he say, but I just laugh at him. Like there's something, like he's gonna do something or say something that's not supposed to be funny that gonna make me laugh.
Interesting.
Like, so that's why I'm like, he's definitely the funniest one. Jeff Bezos, I don't see him as a funny guy. Truth be told, I really haven't heard him talk that much. Steve Jobs wasn't funny. I see him more as genius than funny.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, not
Not a
funny.
guy. Yeah, he's not funny.
Warren Buffett, he got like a punchline here and there, but he's not a funny guy. Let's not be disrespectful.
Kanye West is funny.
No. Kanye
West is a funny guy.
I wasn't even gonna go to Kanye. I was gonna go to the other black billionaire, the one who said that he was go
pay for everybody's tuition.
Pay for everybody's tuition.
Did he do it? Did he do it?
I'm sure he did.
Okay.
But like I said, it's a shame we don't know his name. We automatically go to Oprah or Kanye West and things like that. I know his name. Hilarious. I know his name, but it's escaping me. But I guess that means I don't know his name. But I'll put his picture of him up there. So shout out to him. Kanye is not funny.
Kanye West is hilarious, man.
They having something on Twitter, or they had something on Twitter, to where they are saying, what are President Trump's funniest moments and stuff like that. And the one that came up, the part that it made me laugh when it first happened, but like now when you look back on it, you're like, yo, this guy was really president. When there was some storm that happened in Mexico or like some like Hispanic country or something like that, and he was shooting paper towels into the crowd and things like that.
It was.
That's the whole point, because he was he showed that at some food bank, and they were handing out like paper towels, toiletries, and things like that. And instead of handing people like baskets full of stuff, he was taking out paper towels and he was just shooting it into the crowd. And it made me go like, yo, he really was our president.
I ain't gonna lie. When I saw this moment, I ain't really find it funny until you brought it to my attention. When he was talking about Kim Jong-un, and he was like, yeah, you know, Rocket Man.
Oh, man.
I was like, Trump, I just took it as Trump just calling somebody else. And then you was like, does this man really call this man Rocket Man?
Yo, like, that is... The only reason why people like Trump is because, unfortunately, he embodied at one point what people really felt about America in their private homes. My man in North Korea been talking about he gonna send rockets to America for the longest. And our response to that threat is not to send military over there. It's not to even, like, arrest him. Is to call him Rocket Man and then move on to something else. So that's why I'm like, man. That's probably my second favorite moment. But
Rocket Man, that's hilarious.
It is what it is, man. But you sent me something that I want to know what you feel, and the title that you sent me, or basically the gist of it, is anxiety may be good instead of bad. So, what was your point of sending that to me? Besides, the podcast topic, but what stuck out in that made you want to talk about that?
So it kind of goes to your overall theory about how like mental health is a scam.
Oh, okay, it is. It is.
It's not.
Okay,
but I do think we're living in this generation where everybody wants some type of crutch. Whether it's like, I'm trans, you got all these like people who are not, gay. Shout out to the Pride Month.
Pride Month.
Pride Month, right?
You wild. I'm about to say, like, it's still Pride Month.
But it's a bunch of people who are not gay who were like trying to appropriate gay culture. Shout out to the gay culture.
Okay.
Who would like be like, oh, I'm him, he, him. You're not trans. I don't know. You don't have to be trans to do it, but I'm just saying, you're not trans. You're not this. You're not. Or you like, I'm queer, but you're a woman that dates only guys. It's like, all right, I guess.
Okay.
And I think it's the same thing with like, what's it called?
Anxiety
and just mental illness and mental health. Like everybody wants something to say, hey, I have this mental illness or I have this mental health. And the easiest one to do, if not depression. Depression is probably number one.
Depression is definitely number one.
But I feel like depression been used so many times that people are like, oh, that's not sexy no more. So now it's anxiety. So now everybody's saying I have anxiety, or I have slight social anxiety, or I can't do this because I have anxiety, or I'm always check up on my girl and making sure she's at not another person's house because I have anxiety. Like, it was
You're a stalker.
And so it's like, well, first of all, just because you have anxiety or just because you're anxious doesn't mean you have a mental illness or a mental disorder.
Yes, and in the clip that I'm going to insert into the podcast, she made it very clear that there's a difference between experiencing anxiety and having an anxiety disorder.
In your book, you write that there is a big difference between anxiety and anxiety disorder. So how do we know when we're feeling normal anxiety versus something, say, more debilitating?
Anxiety is on a spectrum. It's more of a dimmer switch than a light switch, that you flick on and off. So, anxiety is experienced from just excitement, a sort of sense of butterflies in your stomach, all the way over to panic. But even frequent and intense experiences of anxiety are not enough to diagnose an anxiety disorder. We only diagnose them when the ways that we cope with anxiety are actually getting in the way of living a full life. So I might feel socially anxious. I might feel anxious about having an interview with a wonderful journalist, and I can feel all those feelings. But if I'm starting to cope with that nervousness in ways that cause me to refuse to do the interview, that cause me not to leave my home, that cause me not to be able to go to work or be with loved ones, it's those coping approaches that are getting in my way that would lead to a diagnosis of an anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
So, that goes to your point.
And I think a lot of times we hear everybody, because everybody, and this is one of the most beautiful, times. I was semi-trolling in the beginning about, people appropriating gay culture. This is one of the most beautiful times in American, I guess, not American, but just society in general.
Okay.
History, where people are able to share their stories, people that we never really heard from, people from different parts of our society. And I think that is connecting to other people where that might have not happened even 10, 15, 20, definitely 50 years ago. So you might have somebody in, India telling his story and connect with somebody who's in Nigeria, who connect with somebody who's in like rural Alabama. And they might have similar stories. And I think with mental illness and mental disorder, everybody's telling their stories and people are connecting to that. But I think a lot of people are thinking that they also connect with that. But that's not really what's going on. Like, if you are able to go to school, go to work, go to this, you might be like, I don't want to talk to this person. Or, I don't want to present. You don't got anxiety disorder. You just shy. You just don't want to, you just don't want to interact with people. But if you can do it, doesn't mean you have a disorder. It's when you can't do something. When you can't leave your house.
So basically you're saying
when you call in sick because you're too anxious to meet anybody or talk to anybody, that's when
because it disables you from doing anything.
It impedes on your life.
Let me look up the actual definition of anxiety.
This man grabbed his phone with his foot.
Yeah, I ain't want to
Yo, whole monkey.
Whoa.
Shout out to my racists.
Yeah,
that was a wild time. Obama's presidency. People really allow people just to say racist things back in the day. Right. They really call this man a monkey. They called the president a monkey. That is wild. I don't think you could do that nowadays.
At least not to a white one.
No, we would cancel you. Shout out to cancel culture. It's scary.
Cancel culture be right sometimes.
But they scare a lot of racist people. People are not racist as they used to be. They might be racist, but they don't be saying that. That's wild.
Let me give you this Google definition. Anxiety. A feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an event or something with an uncertain outcome. Have you ever experienced anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been crippled by anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
So do you identify with anxiety is bad? And maybe I'll jump the shark on that question. I mean,
too much.
Since you experience anxiety, and you've been crippled by anxiety, how can you say that people are faking when you have testament rather that I experienced this? Like how how can you say? Maybe I'm asking the wrong question.
I mean, it's like
Because truth be told, I don't think I ever experienced anxiety before.
it's like this.
Okay.
You start coughing,
I'm coughing.
and you tell me you have COVID.
Wow. Off of a cough?
I feel like that's how people are treating anxiety. For you to say you have anxiety disorder or you have a social anxiety, you need to get that diagnosed by a licensed therapist.
Okay.
You can't just be saying I have these disorders and you never really got it checked out. Or I got ADD. You know, the other one's ADD. I got ADD. Why? 'Cause I can't focus. You got it checked out? What do you mean you got ADD? How you know? And I think it's the same thing with a cough. If you just say I have a cough, and then you talking about I have COVID, I'm like, you sure you got COVID? Like, you got tested?
There's tests for that to confirm that. I think.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. I don't think, based on what you described, and based on what the definition described, or what anxiety is, I don't think it's a good thing.
Okay, I ain't touching that.
No, I'm going there to come back. I'm going there to come back. So
Right.
to like explain that part, right?
Makes sense.
Anything that inhabits your everyday experience of living, I do not see it as a good thing. Anything that can tailor or temper with whatever decision you want to do. Like, for example, I want to go outside and walk. And while I put on my shoes, I begin to think, what if there's people outside? Granted, I don't think that's a good thing. However, there has to be something, to your point, to just because you have it, you have to combat it. Like you just can't, like, for example, you just can't have anxiety or diagnose or self-diagnose yourself and then be like, I have anxiety, but then you never got it checked out. So because you never got it checked out, you never took the steps to actually like try to cure that feeling you may have. Granted, I understand some people don't like taking drugs, but sometimes drugs are needed. You get what I'm saying? To like, even with depression, I took depression for granted for the longest. I'm like, oh, it's just extreme sadness. Like, it just is what it is. But sometimes medicine just gets you back to zero.
Yeah.
Because you're so far in the negatives. So that's why I'm like, with anxiety, I never experienced something that I couldn't overcome. I don't even know how that feels, to where it's like, I've been nervous about something, I've been uneasy about something, but to the point to where I'm like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Because it's a lot of things I've done and I just overworked and things like that, and I just did something that I didn't want to do, but I'm like, I can't do it. And people not getting that checked out, I'm like, that's not all people, but some people not getting that checked out, that's weird to me. Like, that's a prison. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think I was reading an article on there. I'll probably share it with you. The thing is that a lot of people who have anxiety, and maybe this is probably the good thing about people just, and this is the argument I made when we was talking about therapy and depression and all this, is that even though a lot of people might be using it as a look at me, I'm also disabled type of thing. I think what it does normalize it for those who do have anxiety to really be taken seriously. 'Cause I think what's been happening, what's probably been happening over the years is that people have been dealing with it and thinking that's just who they are. It's like, they might be like, oh, there's a party going, there's a lot of people in this party. You know what? I'm gonna just go home. Instead of like, instead of thinking like, that's weird behavior. Why I go home because there was too many people, or calling in sick from work because it's like, I don't know, I just don't. There's something, I feel some type of way about going to work. They might just not deal with it as anxiety. So what I think what's probably going on right now. So to your question, it's like why you not getting checked? I think people just normalize their behavior. And because they normalize their behavior, they just don't see it as a.
But there's certain symptoms there that's scary, like your heart rate can increase. Nobody care about their heart beating fast, like faster than normal and things like that. Like that's not a good feeling.
But you don't know that's weird because that always happened.
Okay.
Like you don't know what's normal.
Because, and this is for people who have anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have it like terribly. I did get diagnosed with social anxiety, but I think that's just shyness. And they said talk therapy should fix that. But like
you had to be diagnosed with social.
Yeah, I'm in therapy now, so they be having all the tools.
Social what?
Social anxiety.
So you scared to talk to people or something like that?
Low key. I don't like talking to new people. And that's the thing. I thought it was just me not being, social. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was. I really had social anxiety.
Like there's actually a name for it.
That's what they called it.
Did they give you pills?
No, she said the nurse that diagnosed me. She said that I'm not bad enough to need drugs. I just need to continue going to therapy.
Hook and sinker, huh? Keep coming to therapy.
Keep giving us your money. But yeah, no, I think so. So I think a lot of times people just don't. It's so normal for how they deal with a lot of the things that they deal with. They just they've been doing this since they was a teenager or
even younger.
Yeah, so. It's not normal, and it's kind of like those people that be angry all the time, and then you like, why you like this? It's like that's just who I am. Like it was like
you just scared.
You angry all the time, like that's who you are. And I think it's the same thing with anxiety. It's like I just don't like people. I just don't like going to big groups and crowds, and I just don't like talking. So
yeah, I think I'm speaking from privilege.
Yeah,
I'm speaking from privilege because I'm like, if I was to meet someone and say, like, this is who I am, because when I think of someone with mental illness, it's also I guess it's a non-educated thing to say, but
yeah.
When I see people with mental illness, or when I think of people with mental illness, rather, I think of like a meek person. Like I don't think of someone like, for example, it's possible for you to have anxiety and be confident, right? So, but when I think of somebody with anxiety, I think of someone curled up in the corner, scared to come outside, lights off. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't think of the everyday person that I'm passing out in the street that may have an anxiety disorder or just some type of mental health disorder. So you may have those people who dealt with it their whole life who feel like there's some normalcy to it because that's all they experience. And they'd be like, I don't like big groups. And they speak it confidently. And to me, that may just come off as, oh, you just stuck in your ways.
Yeah.
But I'm not viewing it as, oh, you may really need to be diagnosed with social anxiety because you're just confident in your crutch.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if that's the case, the way mental health has gone, even for people who are faking it, or I wouldn't even say faking it, I say even for the people who are using it as leverage and stretching it and things like that, and basically giving themselves a crutch, does it benefit everyone to have a crutch? Because to your point, you said to the ones that really do have anxiety or really going through it really hard, they feel seen. They feel like it's normalized now. They feel like they don't have to hide. Mm-hmm. Because people like me, just using me as an example, may just take my nervousness and just put anxiety on it. And now it's kind of like normal to where you're not the weird kid and no more that have anxiety. It's like now everybody got a crutch. Mm-hmm. Does it benefit everyone in society now to have a crutch or use their crutch or things like that? Or is that even a good question?
So I do have two thoughts on this. I want to say overall, yes. But I did remember hearing this story, and I might send this to you, about this therapist who was talking to a gamer, a streamer online. Mm-hmm. Just talk about therapy and mental well-being and all that. And she was talking about how this woman thought she had, what they call it, multi-personality disorder.
Okay.
Or borderline personality disorder. And she kept getting diagnosed with, no, you don't have it. Mm-hmm. But she was in such disbelief And she was the therapist was one of the people that interviewed her, but she was in such disbelief she kept going back to different doctors to get re-diagnosed, and about I guess a year later she was diagnosed with it, and when that therapist met her again, she actually showed signs of borderline personality disorder
compared to before where it wasn't.
Now the question is, I'll tell you her theory or what she's telling me. But the question is, did she always have it and was slowly growing throughout the year? Or did she trick herself into believing that she had it, where then she started to develop symptoms where she actually had it? And so the therapist thought it was this ladder where she kept saying, I had it. She started thinking she had it. And then her body and her mental well-being started to actually show symptoms of having it, where she probably didn't have it before, but because she thought she did, she started to actually. And so I wonder if that's what might happen with anxiety.
Or mental health.
Period.
Because the reason why I asked that question is, you always speak of, and please correct me when I say this word wrong. I'm going to try to say it right. When the thing swings, the pendulum.
Pendulum.
That.
Pendulum.
Right? The point of that, you want it in the middle, right?
Yeah.
You want it in the middle, but in order for it to get in the middle, it has to settle, right? So it would swing one way, and then it would swing back the other way, and then it gets slower, and then it would settle in the middle. Now, the outcast is the one that's not diagnosed with anything. Dude, you kind of get what I'm saying? Because it's not settled yet.
To the point where people are like, you should go to therapy.
Exactly.
There's something that got
There's something wrong with you. But I'm like, no, I'm good. So to support that story you just said, that's where my question came from. Because what if, and like I said, I don't know the broad. What if everybody has something and you don't want to be the out man out, or you don't want to be the outside man? And granted, I'm speaking from a place of not being diagnosed with anything. I don't think people want to be depressed. I don't think people want to have anxiety. I don't think people want to be diagnosed with these things. So let me say that first. But that is a good story that you shared. What if everybody in society have a crutch? And let's say you're young. And let's say you're entering into society as a teenager or so forth. And you know it's peer pressure and there's things you have to do to fit in. Even as adults, there's things you have to do to fit in. To where it's like, oh, you don't go to therapy? To your point, you don't go to therapy? Like, no. You don't go to marriage therapy? You don't go to marriage counseling? I do think you should, talk about marriage counseling. But, like, there's nothing wrong. And it's almost wrong to say there's nothing wrong with you. And it's like, I wonder when would that settle once it gets done swinging the other way. Like, you're normal if you say, yeah, I deal with depression. You're normal if you say, I have anxiety. You're normal if you say, I have multi-personality disorder. You're normal if you say, I have social anxiety. I don't like big crowds. You know what I mean? But it's kind of hard to tell the difference between my preference and what is crippling me. I don't like to be around big crowds either. That's a preference. I don't want to be back to back or side to side with anybody, like concerts and things. I can't imagine being like in a mosh pit. You get what I'm saying? But I'm not crippled by it. It's just my preference. I just don't want to be around nobody.
Like if you was there, you could.
Yeah, it's like if I was there, I'd just be like, I'm hating life right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not like,
No. I'm just like, this sucks. I'm never doing this again. So that's why I'm like, are we getting to that point to where it's almost abnormal to be normal? Like, what's normal now? Normal is everybody got something? And maybe the point is, maybe the chicken came before the egg or the egg came before the chicken. Maybe people always had something.
Yeah.
And now medicine caught up.
Yeah.
Science has caught up. Therapy has caught up to where it's like, yo, people been messed up. We actually got names for this now. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, I think it's a discussion to have when it comes to, especially that woman, because it's like, that's a great science experiment right there. Like, did you trick yourself into
thinking you had a disorder?
And now you start to do things and show the characteristics of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we we currently live in a society where everybody's trying to improve. So I don't even know.
And that's true. The self-help society.
Yeah, it's not only self-help. Now you
Self-
got therapy. Now you got working out. Like we're trying to improve in every aspect. And I guess it's all self-help because they all in different genres.
Self-help used to be a small group. Now it's almost, you got people who are in their 40s, 45, 50 years old.
Changing their whole life.
That should be basically about to retire. Things like that.
Yeah, I quit my job. 60 points. Oh, it's 5 more years. Quit my job to start a business.
Exactly.
Sold everything.
But that's the way that society is turning.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, we can't be ignorant and say, oh, we don't follow the trends of society. But at the same time, to argue for the other side, maybe science, medicine, therapy, all that stuff finally caught up to us. Maybe we've been sick. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I think also, with everybody trying to improve themselves, I think people are trying to optimize for the best life they could possibly live. And so if they feel like, okay, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm going to go to therapy. I don't really know what's wrong with me, but I'm going to go to the doctors to see like what my blood work is. Like people are pushing themselves in sports every day. You got people running marathons. There's more people running marathons than ever before.
Really?
I remember there was a story where there was only like maybe a few thousand people in the world that was running marathons. Now you could have a 1,000 people running one marathon. And so you got so many people doing all these workouts. There's kids nowadays. I remember a lot of the fitness bodybuilders on YouTube. They said when we was growing up, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what supplements to take. We didn't really know how to work out. It's like now you guys have all this information, and you got kids now who are like 22 looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was in his prime. And so I think there's so much, one, information, and two, momentum in trying to live the best life, trying to optimize for the best life, that I think a lot of times people are taking these steps to work on themselves. And one being, going to therapy or making sure their mental well-being is as well. So that could also play a role where we are seeing a lot of these other people come up because people are going to the doctors to actually make sure they're actually good. Like I could be one of those examples where I really never thought I had any type of anxiety.
I'm happy you got that diagnosed because if you
and to be honest with you, the other scary part is like I don't want that to be an excuse, right? Okay. And I think that's the other thing that I think is kind of and this goes to the heart of the question. Is like I think a lot of people are using or have anxiety, like the whole horoscope. Like, oh, I'm a Cancer. That's
Shout out to my Cancers.
That's why I'm crying right now. Boy, you don't wipe them tears. Sorry. Man could cry too. Everybody could cry.
Adults can't cry.
Just in the car though. Just cry in the car.
Oh boy.
Not in the middle of the street. Where your toddler
adults
in your hand.
Adults shouldn't cry.
You seen that video?
Which one?
The guy in the white suit when he was holding his daughter's hand. And he was crying. He was wiping his tears.
Oh, yeah, man. I hated that video, bro.
Oh, damn. Why you hate that video?
Because why he crying like that for the camera, bro? Why he crying like that for?
That is true. I don't like when people are crying and somebody's recording you. Like, what are you doing?
Because usually my first instinct is to see somebody crying and be like, you good?
Yeah, hug me.
Yeah. No, don't touch me. But I'm like, you good?
Yes, man.
Nah, I don't. That's one thing I don't like. I don't like being coddled. And I think that had to do with my mother dying at an early age.
Damn.
I told you, I went to therapy before, bro. Like, I just like, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Okay.
That makes sense because my father wasn't
a
coddle type of one. Like I want to be coddled in the way he coddled me. Like, hey,
you good, boy?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so much love in that statement. You know what I mean? Like, hey. Like,
people gonna say, you might need therapy. You know that's going to say that.
I'm like,
you don't know how to really love.
how are you gonna love your daughter? You know how people say that? Like, you gonna have daughters, you ain't gonna know how to love her. Like, no, I'm gonna hug her. Like, just because it's my preference doesn't mean like I'm gonna pass it on to like
somebody else.
Like my wife gonna be alive, even though she is. We have a bet that
Damn, yo, just call her his wife.
I'm just saying, like, no, I'm just saying, no, no. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that to current situation. I'm saying I'm only having a child. With my wife. I'm not like these other people out here just having kids and stuff like that. Like, I'm saying for me.
All you single fathers out there.
Okay.
Nasty hoes.
Okay, tee up.
Y'all single fathers, nasty hoes.
But shout out to fathers. They fathers just passed.
Oh yeah, shout out to fathers Day. Single fathers too, man.
No, but I'm saying, like, my father, like, there is something to, I appreciate what my father was equipped with.
Yeah.
But me and my future wife, well, which I'm speaking presently now, we are equipped with more than what he had. Dude, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my future child will not have the same experience that I had of not being coddled, because my father did the best with what he had. If my mother was alive, then I would love being coddled.
Yeah.
But because that's the case, I don't want to be, if I'm crying, just let me get it out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Don't hug me. But no, I see your point. But no, I hate that video. That video with the groom and his daughter holding hands and he crying. Stop crying at your wedding.
Wait, relax. Wait, what?
Stop crying at your wedding. You knew this was gonna happen. Matter of fact, your bank knew this was gonna happen.
Just because you know something's gonna happen doesn't mean you can't get emotional.
Nah.
I feel like that's the one place you should be able to cry.
I'm crying when I propose.
You crying when you propose.
I'm crying when I propose.
Now you definitely knew about the proposal.
I'm nervous. I don't know what at the proposal though. I'm not nervous.
What that got to do with crying?
Cause I just feel a lot of emotions.
Okay.
Because that's no.
Okay, all right.
At a proposal, that's probably the most humble I probably will ever be in life. I will never get on my knees for anybody else except for the person that I'm asking to spend my life with. That is a humbling, intimate, nervous, emotional moment. The wedding, we met with the wedding planner. We had rehearsals.
The rehearsal ain't real rehearsals though. They're like,
I paid for it.
I
paid for it. I knew this was gonna happen, right? But people say things like, when you see your wife come down, that's probably gonna be
she's dressed up, she got makeup on.
And people say things that I think is kind of offensive. They say, like, this is the most beautiful that she's ever gonna look. I say, stop it. Just because she's wearing a wedding dress doesn't mean that's gonna be the most beautiful she ever looked.
What's gonna be the most beautiful she ever looked? When she's on the operating table and pushing out your baby?
No, because I'm not looking at that either.
You know, they went on themselves?
Yes.
Man, that's the scariest thing.
Yes. But that's normal though.
Can you imagine? Oh, excuse my language. Can you beep that out?
Yeah, I'll beep it out.
Excuse my language, but that is intense. Like, you poop on yourself.
But now the trend now is C-sections. So it's like, because
that's still scary. You cut open.
No. It is because doctors don't want to be on call.
Oh,
dude, you get what I'm saying?
I see. And so they planned it in advance.
Yeah, there's some, like, in some cases it's for the safety of the baby. You know what I mean? But it seems like the last 10 women I talked to just all had C-section, and then once you have one C-section, like,
you might as well.
You gonna have all of them. So, dude, your stomach hurt.
That's intense.
But no, low key, don't be mad at me, y'all. I don't think the wedding dress is that fire, man. Like
don't want to take it off.
No. I'm saying it's a cool gown, but it's like, it's cool, but it's like, all right, cool.
That's your wife.
No, she is my wife.
She wasn't your wife before she walked down.
She probably was, because we probably had to get the license beforehand.
What do you mean? You don't get the same thing?
No, you gotta go to the courthouse.
Do you?
Well, I'm going to the courthouse.
Don't they? Isn't the person who marry you aren't they licensed to?
So you telling me even after I have the ceremony, I'm not really married yet?
Yeah, because the person is there.
Oh, then no, I'm definitely not crying.
It's guess it ain't y'all officially husband and wife.
Yeah.
I don't know unless you get the license first and then you come. But I thought you could.
I thought
I'm
some,
getting married before. So.
I thought some people get the license first. I'm getting the license first.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
when I propose, I'm married.
Yeah. Oh.
No, like I'm married. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm married.
I'm waiting sometime. I'm saying. Just make sure.
Oh boy.
I'm praying God, Lord, bring everything to the light right now.
Okay. No, but
anything I need to know.
But that's just what I'm saying. I'm not crying at my wedding.
I feel you.
If I cry at my wedding, I pay you if I cry at my wedding. There's nothing she can say, in my opinion. I don't know, because I'm a better writer than my lady. She's gonna cry off my vows. Because I'm just, I'm just that nigga with like the pen. I don't think there's nothing that she can say that she haven't already told me in this almost 6-year span that she's gonna hit me at the wedding.
Hey, if you seen this, hey, you can start practicing now. Get your rough draft out now. Hey, we put money into this, all right? I split 50-50 with you. Come on.
It comes back to me either way.
But yeah, one last point I want to make is that the only reason I say anxiety could be good is that it is part of being human. I think we have all these negative connotations with a lot of these emotions, but sadness is part of being human. Mm-hmm. Anger is part of being human. Mm-hmm. Anxiety is part of being human. And there's a reason why you get anxious. You take things more serious when you're anxious. When you're not anxious, you think it's just a regular thing. But when you're anxious, when you know, I got prep for this this speech that I'm doing tomorrow, because you don't want to mess up. So you take it seriously. If there's lives on the line, you're not playing games. You're able to do the work.
Yeah.
But there's a level of anxiousness that comes with that with that job, right? So I think the whole idea that anxiety this, anxiety that, anxiety this, anxiety that, anxiety is there for a reason. And I think the whole idea of saying, I'm trying to get rid of anxiety, unless you have a disorder, you should probably relax. That's my whole thing. Like, let's relax on it.
I think that's a good reason, but I think it's incomplete in this sense.
Sounds good.
If you had, let's say you bust your knee open doing something, right? And you need to get surgery on your knee. Mm-hmm. And the doctor tells you, I'm anxious to do the surgery. Will you feel comfortable letting him operate on you? To cut into you? To fix something inside you? Because by your logic, you say you may feel, or by your response, maybe not logic, incomplete, but basically what I took from it is that, hey, you may feel it, but that's human. And that it kind of gives you the alert or the sense to take something seriously. And that you may perform better because you actually felt this feeling and you know this is a serious thing. But I don't think you always have to feel that way to take something seriously. You could be confident in something and not feel anxious about it.
Yeah. I mean, yes. It depends, right?
Okay.
Like, there's a level of experience that comes with not feeling anxious anymore. So if he seen knees like that all the time.
Oh, so you basically saying like with experience kind of negates
the anxious. The first
anxiety.
2 times he does it, he's going to be anxious.
Okay.
But after he did like 100, 200, 20 years.
And that's when all of a sudden
the
injuries start looking the same and stuff
it's
like that.
Yeah, I've seen this before. There's nothing to worry about. But if he's seeing an injury that he's never seen before, there's going to be a level of nervousness. It's the same thing with even like police officers, not the ones that kill black people, but the police officers that go into certain type of environments.
And definitely not the ones that's in Texas that didn't go into the school to help with anything. They just stayed outside. Not them. Not y'all. But go ahead.
Hey, I don't know enough about that story, so I ain't gonna comment on that. But yeah, when you go into a situation that you're not familiar with, yeah, you could train for it 100 times. You could read about it 100 times, but until you get into that situation and that be your first time, there's a level of anxiety that comes with it. I'm pretty sure if every gunfight in war, it's always anxiety because it's the variables are always different.
Yeah.
You're always in different terrains.
It's almost never the same experience.
And it's a life and death situation.
Yeah.
So I think if somebody said they wasn't anxious during a gunfight, I'm like, all right, bro. You get on the other platoon. You're not in my platoon, my guy. I need people who are alert, like people who are worried about death. Like that's the people I want in my platoon. Mm-hmm. Like you don't, not to the point where I can't shoot, boss.
Yeah.
Like I don't want that person either. But I do want the person like I'm gonna make sure we do everything that we need to do to come home alive. Like I want that person.
I think experience is the best. I don't want to say cure, but I think you need experience to draw back to whenever you feel anxious. And I mean, in the sense of if you do have social anxiety and you're like, I feel this type of way when I speak to people, but I'm going to go do it anyway.
That's true.
But I'm going to do it anyway. And you do that multiple times, when you feel anxious the next time, you can draw back to that experience of, I felt this way, but when I went out and spoke, these people became my friends. Dude, you get what I'm saying? Like it is. I think experience is a good thing. That's for, in my opinion, the ones that doesn't have a disorder. Anything that has a disorder, most of the time requires medicine just to get things leveled.
Yeah.
And then you still have to do the practical work to basically have an even playing field with everything else. Yeah. The medicine is just to get you back to zero. If you don't do nothing but just take the medicine, you're going to be at zero. Yeah. Compared to actually being at a level. But shout out to people with anxiety. Shout out to people who are nervous, who call it anxiety. Shout out to people who have anxiety disorder. Hopefully y'all go get help and y'all get treatment. Amen. And y'all able to function in life the way y'all want to. Anything else you want to share?
No.
Y'all be good, man. Blessings.